UCLA on the field against Kansas State. Day after Christmas, Chase Field in Phoenix. The Wildcats coming off a 7-5 campaign in the Big 12. Actually, a preseason top 25 team expected to do quite a bit better than that. Had to rally with some wins late against the weaker part of their schedule to get eligible for postseason play. Of course, the Bruins at 6-6 with the last game win over Cal to become bowl eligible. So, Mike, we've seen these two teams get together. Of course, not the same personnel. It was a few years ago with one of Jim Moore's probably better teams finishing off a 10-3 campaign against Kansas State with a win in the Alamo Bowl. But another time around, and this is the way college football works, different coaching situation, different personnel just a few years later against the same opponent. So it's not going to wreck the season. It's not going to make the season, but it would be nice, of course, to finish over 500, get a bowl win. This is going to be a situation where anytime you play in a bowl game, even though a lot of people consider it an exhibition game, everyone watching college football is going to be watching UCLA play on that night, and it's good to make an impression and gain that perception nationally. So just your initial thoughts about playing Kansas State and getting to see the Bruins play one more time this year.
I've loved bowl season since I was a kid. You know, a lot of people say, it's a meaningless bowl, but it's a chance for the players to get one more shot at it. Especially when at the end of the season, when teams are rallying to try to get wins so that they can become a bowl eligible. It's a special thing for them and the program in general and the fans. So it's I've always thought it was weird that people say, it's a meaningless bowl. Certain players shouldn't play in it, which I'm going to get into in a second. But Kansas State and UCLA, the last time they played, UCLA had a really excellent first half against Kansas State with Brett Hundley leading the charge, and then the Wildcats came storming back in the second half. UCLA. Edged out the Wildcats at the end, but that ended with one of the Kansas State defenders flying over the offensive line to try to get at not Josh Rosen, Brett Hundley. And Jim Moore didn't take kindly to that. His famous kind of snubbing of Bill Snyder in the handshake afterwards. And Bill Snyder just kind of like looking dumbfounded, like, what happened? What did I do? Like you said, two different personnels, two different teams, rosters. That was the Alamo Bowl. Both teams were a lot better than they were here. But Kansas State is still pretty dangerous. They're gonna bring a very good run game, and that could be troubling for UCLA, who has not been very good at stopping the run. So that's going to be interesting. The other part is to see UCLA's offense one last time with Josh Rosen running things. And maybe it's one last time to boost his resume. Maybe get a big win in a bowl. He said that he's been wanting to play in the bowl. Even before they were attempting to become bowl eligible. So we're in a bowl now. It seems that he's going to play, listening to what interim head coach Jed Fish is saying. But there's a lot of people who are saying, he shouldn't play. He should sit this one out. It's a meaningless bowl. He'll just hurt his stock. If he gets injured, there goes millions of dollars. True, but he also wants to play one last time. I'm on the fence about it. It'd be fantastic for him to save up and prepare for the NFL draft. But at the same time, if he wants to play, let him play. It's also not certain if he's going to come back next year, although there have been reports that have said that Rosen is definitely not coming back this year. And on social media the last couple of days on Twitter, Rosen has shot those down, saying I haven't made a decision, don't believe anything, just kind of calling out reporters. So that's been an interesting storyline. But as of now, it seems that he's set to play in the bowl and has not made a decision about his NFL draft prospects. So
wouldn't that be something? Josh Rosen came back. That would be just the biggest offseason news in college football, because everyone assumes that he's gone because he's going to be probably top 2 or 3 pick in the NFL draft. But considering Chip Kelly coming in and what is expected of a Chip Kelly offense, and you put that together with an offense that, despite a down season, in the record column still was top 5 in the nation in pass offense and top 20 in total offense, that would be something else. That would be great.
Yeah, a
I
bit
was
of a
just
clash of styles. Rosen more of a pocket passer. You know, that would be interesting to see how he fits in a Kelly offense. If he can adapt that and just add another weapon to when he goes to the NFL, ooh, look out.
Yeah, that would be fun to watch. And looking back at that previous Kansas State game that you mentioned, 40-35 UCLA win, that was kind of the crescendo of the Jim Mora tenure. They finished off well in 2014. I was just looking at the schedule and the results. UCLA beat 4 ranked teams that year. They blasted USC. They unfortunately had the downer in the last game against Stanford, or they would have gone to the Pac-12 championship game. But they beat a really good Kansas State team to finish 10-3, number 10 in the country, top 10 ranking. And considering, I know we had many conversations at that point, Mike, considering UCLA's personnel, considering their showing in the bowl game and a 10-3 campaign in the top 10 in the nation and the recruiting classes coming in, we were talking some big stuff, and it just didn't materialize, unfortunately.
The recruiting was there. It didn't help, shuffling coordinators and assistants. Jed Fish is the third coordinator Josh Rosen has had in his 3 years. So stuff like that doesn't help. Also losing, one of the things that Mora did do well was send guys to the NFL. Unfortunately, there were a lot of guys, and that depleted UCLA over the last couple of years. The only thing is that coaching and development didn't have the same speed as the amount of guys that were going to the NFL. So, there's that as well.
I don't understand what you were saying about bowl games either, because I understand if you're playing for a championship and you're this close to the college football playoff and it's a big letdown that you have to refocus and get the kids up to try to move on to postseason play in another bowl game. But otherwise, you take a team like UCLA, this is the game in which the entire country is going to be watching them, that likes college football, that's going to be watching college football, versus week to week them playing, I understand, very important games, conference games, but there's like 12 or 15 other games on at the same time, and the nation's attention's divided. You get to a bowl game, people remember bowl games, they remember the result, they remember just it's a team, and it's a measurement against another like-seeded team in another conference. And again, there's going to be more people watching UCLA football on that night than at any other time. I understand USC is a huge game in these other games, but once you're knocked out of the championship race in your own conference, this is a bigger game, I think. So I love the bowl games too.
Getting ready to see what Chip Kelly brings. I tell you, spring practice, can't come soon enough. So, but it is going to be interesting to see what happens immediately after the Cactus Bowl. Like I said, is Jed Fish auditioning for that offensive coordinator spot? Is Josh Rosen going to come back? So it's going to be, if you'll have me on, we'll talk about that too, because it's going to be very interesting, as soon as the Cactus Bowl, is over. So
no doubt about that. And hopefully we can get together one more time before they hit the field against Kansas State and break down some matchups a little bit more. Mike Regalado, Gojo Bruin, you got to join him there for UCLA football coverage. And, of course, the Bruins hitting the basketball floor as well. We won't dive into that. Mike's got that all covered, and his staff. So join him there if you love UCLA basketball as well. Mike, we appreciate the time. Go watch the Bruins play some hoops.
Thanks, Mark.